vanilla. Redstone.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. Today I'm bringing you something a bit different than normal based upon the last video. I showed a basic design for a redstone system that automatically revealed lights when it got dark out and hid them when it was daytime. It was a relatively simple system, but a number of the people that saw it didn't really understand what was going on. They are new to the game and don't understand some of the basic redstone stuff. So that's what today's video is going to be. Today we talk about redstone. Redstone, you find it as an ore in the bottom 16 layers of the world. To find out what your layer is, you press F3, and as you can see at the top left hand side, it's a bit hard to see here, but right here you have your X, Y, and Z. Y is your layer. Y tells you how high up you are. And within the bottom 16 layers, roughly, you'll find redstone. Now, in order to mine redstone, you need an iron pickaxe or better. And when you mine it, it'll give you between 4 and 5 of these redstone dust. Now, using this redstone dust, we can make a lot of stuff. So, let's see what some of it is. The first, and probably one of the most basic items you will make, is the redstone torch. It's like a normal torch, only instead of coal, it's a piece of redstone dust and a stick, and it gives you this little guy. This guy doesn't emit much light. I believe this only emits a light level of about 7, whereas a regular torch emits one of about 13. But it'll be used in a lot of the stuff you'll make. The next thing we'll be looking at is just a basic repeater. A repeater is 2 redstone torches, a piece of redstone dust, and 3 smooth stone. And I'll give you one repeater. You get smooth stone by smelting up cobblestone in a furnace. Now, a repeater, an interesting thing about a repeater is any signal that comes into it, it'll automatically turn that signal strength up to 15. So even if this is a signal strength of 1, it'll still be 15. What precisely is the signal strength, you ask? Well, various things give out various signal strengths. This will give out a signal strength of 15, I believe it is. Each signal strength determines how many blocks it can go. So this will be 15, this will be 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, etc., etc., until it goes to 0. At 0, it doesn't do anything anymore. So when you transmit redstone over a long enough distance, you have to run it through things like repeaters, and that's in order to keep the signal going. Now the next thing we're going to look at is the piston. Piston is really a basic thing. You'll use it in a lot of different designs. It comes in 2 varieties, regular and sticky. Sticky piston you get by combining a regular piston with a slime ball. And regular piston is a piece of redstone, iron, 3 planks, doesn't matter what type, you can use birch, you can use oak, you can use spruce, you can use jungle, whatever, it all works. And 4 pieces of cobblestone. Now, there is a very important difference to note between a regular piston and a sticky piston. A regular piston, if used on a normal block, will push it up, then when it retracts, it leaves it up. Blocks that are affected by gravity, like sand or gravel, those are affected by that. Now the sticky piston is distinct in that, as you can see, if you push this one up, it doesn't come back down, whereas a sticky piston will pull it down. Very useful. You'll understand why when we get to circuits and that. Now the next thing we're going to look at is the comparator. A comparator is 1 piece of nether quartz. You have to get to the nether to find this. You'll find it all over the place. It's fairly common, not hard to mine, provided you don't die because it's the nether. 3 redstone torches and 3 smooth stone. And that'll give you a comparator. A comparator is kind of like a repeater, but not quite. whereas a repeater will turn any signal strength that's coming into it into 15 signal strength. A comparator will take any signal strength that comes into it and keeps it at that. So if you put a signal strength of 3 here, it'll transmit 3 on this side, whereas a repeater would take in 3 and turn it into 15. But a comparator has a very special use that's very neat. As you can see, right now, this is off. No lights, no little particle effects, no nothing. If we right click it, that'll change it. Now let's throw something in here. Now as you can see, because there's an item in there now, it can detect items inside inventories and emit a signal strength based upon that, depending on how full that relative container is. In order to get a signal strength of 15 on this, for example, I'd have to fully fill this up. Because there was only one item, it only did a signal strength for 1. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is the redstone lamp. You get this from glowstone, which again, you get in the nether, and 4 pieces of redstone. That gives you the lamp. A lamp is a light source. You can activate it with redstone, you can turn it off, on, all that wonderful stuff. Now, next thing we're going to look at real quick is a hopper. A hopper is a really basic component, and if you ever get into things like automated storage rooms, it's very useful. Now, as you can see in this chest, there's nothing in here. Let's see what happens when we put a piece of stone into this hopper. As you can see, it disappeared. Well, the hopper is capable of inserting items into an inventory. It can face downward or any of the sides, and unfortunately cannot face upwards, but got what you got. It also has another interesting feature. As you can see, there's a chest up here. As you can see, this number is going down. What's happening is it's pulling it out of that inventory. So what some people will do is you can take these and chain them together. So it's literally, you can sit there and go like this and make an automated storage system. And that'll filter out anything from up here. Let's demonstrate. As you can see, it has 1 stack in here. It's filtering it all the way down. A hopper will transport 2.5 items a tick. A second, not a tick. It takes 4 ticks. I'll explain ticks when we get to then. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is just the basic lever. You've already seen what it does. I don't really need to explain that to you. After that, we got buttons. There's 2 types of buttons in this. There's the stone one, which requires smooth stone. You cannot make it with cobblestone. And the wood one. Now, these are important to note between the two because they have different times. When you press it, it emits a redstone signal for a certain length of time, and then it's done. The stone buttons do it for 1 second. The wood ones do it for 1.5 seconds. Now we look at pressure plates. There are 4 different types of pressure plate. There is the wood pressure plate, the stone pressure plate. I got these 2 mixed up. And the light-weighted pressure plate and the heavy-weighted pressure plate. Now, each one has different effects. The wood one, anything goes on it, it'll activate. Items, monsters, players, it doesn't really matter. Everything activates. The stone one requires a bit more. As you can see, we're throwing this item on and nothing's happening. If I step on it, ta-da! Then we have the light-weighted pressure plate. This one's an interesting one. This one you can use to detect numbers of items. How it works is that these both emit a signal of 15 whenever activated. These 2, the weighted pressure plates, emit a signal strength based upon how many entities are on it. So this one will detect number of items, and if there's enough items, as the number of items on it goes up, the stronger the signal strength gets. So 1 item will emit a signal strength of 1, while 64 will emit a signal strength of 2 or 3. I'm not entirely sure, so don't quote me on those numbers. I'm just using them as an example. The heavy weighted pressure plate acts the exact same as a stone pressure plate, only in weighted format. You can throw items on it and it will work. One big difference is the number of items it takes, or the number of entities it takes to achieve full signal strength. The weight pressure plate takes a lot less. The heavy pressure plate, in order to get up to a signal strength of 15, requires 150 entities on it, I believe. So you can stack 150 items on here, and it'll give you a signal strength of 15. Now let's look at these two things, droppers and dispensers. They both are fairly similar. As you can see, there's a bit of difference in the texture on the front. A dropper, when given a signal, regardless of how it comes out, will drop the item. As you can see, it spits it out. Here, let's take a look at something that gives a better example of the difference between the two. Now, if we use an arrow, it just spits it out. Doesn't activate it, doesn't do anything. We can also see this with, say, a bucket of lava. This could be potentially dangerous. Do not try this at home. As you can see, it just spits out the bucket. Now, this right here, this dispenser, is something very different. As you can see, this one just dropped the items. What happens when we activate this? It shoots it like it would a bow. Pretty interesting. And if we put a bucket of lava in there, it dispenses it. Ta-da! Instead of just tossing out the bucket, it puts out a source. And that's why this is potentially dangerous. The recipe for the dropper is 8 cobblestone, 7 cobblestone, and a piece of redstone. For the dispenser, it's the same thing, only you have a bow in the center. Next we have redstone block. This is 9. I can count, I promise. 9 pieces of redstone in a 3x3 pattern, and I'll give you 1 redstone block. Now this emits a constant signal strength of 15. Let's demonstrate this. Now, if you were to take a normal piece of redstone and place it down, and then place something like this on it, as you can see, no. But if we were to place that same lamp, ta-da, it activates. This emits a constant signal. It's far cheaper to use torches, in my opinion, but they have different mechanics in how they operate. So sometimes having this block right here is better than having a torch. When we get into the circuits, I'll explain why. But for now, just understand they are very different in how they operate. Next, we'll be looking at a very interesting thing, a daylight sensor. This is 3 pieces of glass, 3 quartz, and 3 wooden slabs. Doesn't matter what type. It could be birch, oak, whatever. What this does is this emits a redstone signal based upon the time of day. It detects light level from the sun, depending on where the sun is, and it will emit a corresponding redstone signal to it. When it gets dark, it won't emit any signal at all. Now, we have 2 more things to look at. One is a tripwire hook. One thing to note for this particular recipe is this gives you 2 tripwire hooks for this recipe. So 1 ingot, 1 stick, and 1 plank gives you 2. Everything else over here is, to the best of my knowledge, a 1:1 ratio. Now, an interesting thing about this is it doesn't do anything on its own. As you can see, if we go here, nothing. If we right-click it, nothing. But as you can see right here, there's something here. You place a piece of string between 2 tripwire hooks like this. Whenever you walk into it, it activates. Pretty nifty, huh? And here's something very interesting. When you take a tripwire hook and you put it combined with a chest like this, it gives you a trap chest. You can tell the difference by looking at them. This right here is a normal chest, and if you look right around the latch, and then this is the trap chest. As you can see, this is slightly more red. Now, the normal chest, if you look down here, see these repeaters? Nothing happens. However, if you watch this, ta-da, it emits a redstone signal when opened. It also has an interesting mechanic. Anyone that's played any amount of time knows that you can't place multiple of these next to each other. You just can't. Regular chests. But you can do this. Make it for more compact storage. Which is quite useful, to be honest. Especially in large automated storage rooms. That was really what I wanted to show you for this video. This video I'm just covering the basics, what the different items are, what they do, that sort of stuff. The next video I hope to be showing you will cover some basic circuits in that. Circuits will be combinations of stuff like comparators, torches, pistons, stuff like that, in order to achieve a desired function. So, I think that's it for this episode. I hope this was helpful, and watch the next episode, because I will cover some basic circuits there, and explain what they can do and how they can help you. I hope you enjoyed the video, ladies and gentlemen. Have a nice day. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, or to watch a random video. Have a nice day.